Mr. Eggplant presents...
Hey guys, Tyler here.
JP,
Thanks for
that,
checking out yet another Mythic Plus here on the channel. So we're going to get right into this one, and this one is probably the most fun I've had in a Mythic Plus because, as you can see, we are doing a +10 Freehold, obviously my favorite dungeon here in this latest expansion of World of Warcraft, and we actually timed a +10, finally. We didn't do it last season. We were starting with our new group last season when we've been, well, I think this is week 9 now that we've, well, this would have technically been week 8. But we finally finished at +10 on time, which I know for some groups isn't a big deal. But for us, we've been getting inching closer and closer and closer, and we finally did it this week. And of course, we had to do it in style, so we actually two-chested it, which was rather cool. We ended up getting a +12, I think it was Toll to Gore. It took us like 50 minutes to get through, so unfortunately we didn't time the 12, but we still made some great progress, so nice job guys if you do end up watching this video. So as for our group comp, we have JB, who is now on his Zandalari troll, and his name is no longer Morpheus, it is now JB, as we refer to him normally. Myself on my Hunter, of course, marksmanship hunter, as I'm not ready for that pull at all. Make sure I can get my pet out and all that fun stuff. We've got Murdoch, he's on his assassination rogue. We've got Durs on his blood DK, and of course we've got Sindori on his havoc demon hunter.
Beware.
The affixes that we have in this one are, we've got of course Tyrannical, meaning this boss has an absolute massive amount of health. We've got Necrotic, we've got Raging, and we have of course Reaping.
Can you avoid that Azerite powder shot?
So
just like,
my goal in all the Mythic Pluses, my job is to call out the Reapings. So whenever we're getting close on those, you won't hear me in voice, obviously, because I do mute my mic when I play. But you will hear me call, hey, we're at 15%, we're at 20%, and that does really help our particular group. So if you're somebody who can do kind of some shot calling, that might be beneficial to your groups, assuming you are in voice, that sort of thing. So I didn't really talk about this fight because you guys have seen this fight umpteen times. It does not change at all. As a range player, especially a range player with a high range, you know, I'm at 49 yards right now, to where you can stand to these bones that are just off screen to the bottom there. You can stand back there to where you can dodge shark bait every time. Even if shark bait is pointed at you, he will not hit you. That's a great way to keep yourself safe. And we're just going to keep moving through here and make sure I can get rid of the pet. So I believe it was a Eudora week 2, if I remember right. So we would lust on the first boss just because, just get it out of the way, get it on cooldown. Then you kill trash until you get up to Eudora. You lust on Eudora, I should say, after Sated drops off. Then you lust on Eudora, and then you should, in theory, be able to lust on the last boss, which is what we did. So our group damage overall has went up significantly over these, I'd say this last month for sure. Murdoch, like, props to him. Like, you will see him, like, I think for the whole dungeon he's over 20k. Like, he's putting in some work, and we're really benefiting from that. So I, of course, get the first interrupt on almost every interrupt rotation. You'll hear me, or you'll hear JB call out Greeley's got first interrupt, because that's just what I do. I have the longest cooldown out of all of them, so I make sure and just get the first one, and I will interrupt the oarsman. And I want to make sure and not get hit by that, which I barely missed. I could have even just backpedaled and been fine. But whenever the duelist does rush there, if you can time it right, you can knock her back with your bursting shot. However, I didn't do it on that pull. But I have found, like, in a pinch you can do that, as well as the matron mothers in Underrot, and as well as the what are they? The Karen-looking worms. I don't know what they're actually called. It's spew. You can use that to stop the spew. You can actually do it beforehand, and they won't recast it since it is a it moves them.
Yeah, not totally sure how that happened.
So we want to make sure, and of course, like I said, you guys have seen these videos. I think Freehold's probably the #1 thing I have on my channel because I absolutely adore this dungeon. As I get rooted there like a dummy. Because I'm just all about pirates, and I just absolutely love it. And of course, one of my best trinkets drops out of here, so you know that's kind of important
side
too.
Or the knuckle
so we are just calling out that we are at 18% so far in this run, so we want to make sure, and we will pull this pack. We won't pull the dusters just yet that are right there in the middle on the training dummy, but we do want to make sure and kill this stuff pretty evenly. For one, you know, because there is raging, but two, you want to be able to kill it so that they're basically dead by the time the reaping affix comes out. So I'll make sure and get myself in a good position here so I don't take the dash to the face.
This is fun right here.
Yeah,
we'll finish off the oarsman, and I believe I can sit there and I'll start switching to the other ones because we are at 18%.
I need to drop
and
stacks.
Switching, 20%. There we go. So if you guys are new to reaping the affix for season 2, every 20%, everything you killed comes back as a ghost. They don't have any of their abilities, but they do cast Grave Bolt, and then they throw this stuff on the ground. You guys are going to hear it in voice that they did a great job. Cinderai and Murdoch, and Durs for that matter, everybody did. It was kind of absent from our earlier pulls, or our earlier +10s and better, and I made sure and told them that afterwards, that it was great to hear them actually call things out to where, hey, you know, stuff on the even it was literally just a hey, stuff on the ground, move. You know, that makes a world of difference because you've got the shadow slash. Good lord, I can't talk today. And by slash I mean smash because I can't read either. But you just want to dodge all the green that gets thrown on the ground, the purple for the smash, and then you just want to interrupt the Grave Bolt. I couldn't think of what they called it there. So we got a couple more guys coming in here. I made sure, and as I harp on, obviously, we want to make sure and misdirect that stuff, especially on skittish weeks. I've said it several times. The skittish hunters are a tank's best friend, especially if you can, like, for example, on a skittish week. The tank goes in, pulls, and then because he'll lose threat relatively quickly, then you immediately just give him all that threat back with your misdirect. And I did a lot better job of rolling cooldowns. I made sure and had a true shot up for almost every one of our reaping packs. Makes reaping really easy. Like I'm bursting like 31k there. And I'm not running an AoE build, mind you. I forgot to mention I'm still running the 3 Unerring Visions. In this video, I believe I still have 2 rapid fires, or focus fire, excuse me. Later on, I finally, in my last raid, which we finally got down Jaina as a guild on Heroic, which nice job, guys. I wasn't there, but unfortunately I had to work. But the great thing is that this build works for single target and multi-target fights. Like even in raid, for example, like on Opulence, I'm doing like 38 to 40k with a 400 item level. Like this build works, let me tell you. I know a lot of people are moving away from Unerring Visions, or maybe running with just 2 instead of the 3, but I'm still going to champion it. I still love it, and plus I really don't have a lot of time to get new Azerite pieces. So we're just continuing to clear some trash here until we get up to Eudora, as I said a little bit earlier. And on this, I will have called out that I want to make sure and interrupt the Frost Blast on the Brine Scales. That is my thing. That's what I do. And you know, we're making some quick work out of this dungeon. So we're at 37% for enemy forces. As you can see, Durs is running away there. That way he can get rid of his necrotic stacks. I have not tanked any of these, but I know just from pulling aggro on tanks sometimes, necrotic hurts.
I'm gonna bones right away.
So we're getting our second group of ads, and we want to make sure that basically for me that don't disengage back into Eudora. That would be not good. But we're just making some great progress here. Look at that, 68k, 74k. See, those are the numbers we like to see for marksman
Good
hunters.
fucking showing, gentlemen.
Putting in some work. So I ended up with like 60k basically on that pull. That's pretty good. And we've got the ghost down, which in previous weeks, if you guys have watched our videos, you know that we've had a little bit of an issue, or we'll wipe on a couple of them. And I don't think we did that this run. Like, we had a very clean run, only like 1 or 2 deaths. So we're just continuing on here. We'll pull the next set, and I went forward there because they pulled me, of course. And then I used my misdirect, and of course I am focused on the brine scale to make sure I can get that interrupt whenever that comes out. Unfortunately, one of them did go off, but that's not really anything I can avoid. And I did just waste mine there because it got moved, but we just CC'd it with death, so that's always fun too. And the great thing about our group comp right now is we have a very cleave heavy comp, which is nice. But two, JB, as being a druid, can just soothe the rage effects. Obviously, he can only do it, like, I think it's once every 8 seconds. But that makes a world of difference on weeks like this. That necrotic can be dealt with by slowing all the ads and just running away. And then we can get rid of the raging with, I mean, JB. So I'm like, you can already just get rid of so much stuff. And plus, with this build, as I talked about, it's great for single target and AoE, to where I don't lose any damage from when we're doing all these tyrannical bosses that have high amounts of health. And that's why I love this build so much, and that's really why I think marksman hunters are in a great spot right now. I know this last week, or with 8.1.5, Beast Mastery Hunters did get a nice buff, and that's really great for them. And I might actually, if I do some arenas, because I've been looking to push some arenas with JB, and maybe even a couple of other people in our guild. We haven't figured out if we're doing some 2s or 3s groups yet. But I might be looking into doing some Beast Mastery Arena, as not that marksman isn't viable, but it's kind of difficult sometimes with our long cast times. Not to mention, we've still done it though. But.
I'm gonna
good lord, I didn't realize I was sitting there talking too much. We got through 20% of forces already. That's what's cool about this dungeon too, is like it's just all right here, right in this middle section. You can get like 60% of your forces, and I just sit there and I just cleaved off the lost soul. Like that's all I had to do, especially because this is it. They're already all grouped up, and we could just mow them down. And in fact, look at that. I'm the low damage right now, and I'm doing 44k. Like our tank is doing 44k too. That's some great damage for the group. And you will notice that I did not use my true shot because we didn't really need it. But the great thing too is that got my pet out already, Sated's down, and that means we get to fight Eudora.
Okay. You guys ready?
Wait 4 minutes for my
We're gonna do the 4. And then the one thing I just noticed, I did not have Hunter's Mark on her. That is a bonehead thing. You want to make sure and put that on there before, not after, of course. So, as a ranged, this doesn't have to be just marksman, but as a ranged, if you can stand off to the side, you'll miss her attacks completely. The big spray attack that she uses. And then we just sit there and we just go to town on her. Like I bursted 38, 40k, like easy. And this is, by the way, with, I think this is a 400 item level right now. So I want to make sure and dodge the cutting surge from our main man Jolly there. And then just keep going, because I mean they each have 4.3 million health, which doesn't sound like a lot, but Eudora does some crazy damage, and not just with the dodgeable stuff, but with the powder shot like that she just used. That just does a lot of damage, and it just picks random people. So even if you're doing a great job of tanking, like I'm about to get one here, like took me to like almost half health. Luckily for me, I am running with, at least in this video, 3 of the exhilaration buffs. It's salve, where my pocket heal, my exhilaration, heals me for roughly 70% of my health. It is amazing. I'm going to miss it when I do end up switching to a 415 helm.
We're good. We're going.
I will be looking for the helm that, obviously it's a Titan Residuum piece, but I'm trying to get the helm out of Waycrest to go with the chest piece that I have out of Waycrest that are 415. That, and there's gloves that are out of Battle for Zarlor off of the Stormwall Blockade, and then there is wrists off of Grong. If I can get those 3 pieces, there's really no reason to do anything else until the next raid. Like even the next raid, the Crucible raid, there's nothing that I need out of there really either. Although one of the trinkets does look kind of cool. I think it's a trinket. The one that increases your mastery by like 1,000 but does damage to you, and it like scales. I would have to get it and try it out to see how quickly it can kill me, because I know it would kill me. But that's really it. And I don't know if it's just because I've been very diligent with trying to get gear this expansion, like through Mythic Plus, or if there's just not a lot going on in the game right now that I need. So it's a toss-up. I could definitely see that people would say, well, there's just not a lot going on. But I mean, I feel like we've done really well at gearing. I mean, I was looking at a video last week. Like, so basically a month ago, I was one of the lowest geared players in my guild and on my raid team. Like, there was people's alts that had a better item level than me, and we have just soared through. We've got so much good gear recently. I'm just thinking off the top of my head, we finally got a 410 weapon, which is going to be a big damage increase overall. And then we had, speaking of the video here, we had these random buccaneers just like port through and just decide, hey, I'm going to attack now. So that's always fun. And that brine scale did get that cast off, and I think it did hit some people. But hopefully that we'll get that cleared up here. Make sure and dodge the rock throw. Here he comes. And then I just make sure and interrupt whenever I can. And I threw down my trap. The trap's really cool, especially they gave it a new visual, and it actually makes like a sploosh noise, if you want to call it that, whenever the trap does go off, which is really cool. Although some of these visual changes that Blizzard's been implementing, like the beam on Opulence with the noise, is really annoying. So I could do without that, Blizz, if you're watching. Obviously, I know you're not.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
But for gear right now, like I told you guys, my Azerite traits is we're going to push through here, and the whole goal of this run was to make sure and not get that last set of enemy forces, which we do successfully, I might add.
A giant and this like night
so we're going to make sure and pull a couple of these guys in here while all the RP is going on.
I think, in theory, we should be okay.
But as for Azerite, I can see a lot of builds being viable. Like I always champion the Unerring Visions build here on my channel. That's what I do. Just for one, because that was the first build after we went away from the steady aim. But even with it being nerfed when it got lowered by 1/3, like I'm still seeing some great numbers. And I know I'm not on a big server, so I don't want to say like I'm playing against the best players or anything like that. But like my item level DPS at 400 and 402 is still like 95% plus on everything. And like I'm putting in the work with this build that even got nerfed. And I think that this build overall is only going to get better because, you know, every item level that you get increased on your Azerite pieces, it's going to give you more crit, and it's going to give you more crit times 3 because we're running with 3 of them. So I think already just going from 385 to 405 item level pieces, since I do have the +5 to Azerite level or to item level, that I think it gave me like 2% more, which is really good. So we got this last set of lost souls that we have to deal with, since we of course don't want to deal with that last set. As you can see, the pig is just chilling, just hanging out. No really reason to go and click him, except for maybe JB if he's bored, which I think he actually catches it because he was bored. But this was a great spot right here because they just stood right there and we just annihilated them. Like we're doing like 70k DPS right now. And just like we made a mockery of this dungeon. Like this was really good for our group because I will say we were probably getting a little frustrated. Maybe that just from me because we hadn't been timing our +10s. But then to come in here, do the +10, and then +2 the +10 is really nice. And it gave us our first +12 of the expansion so far. So I think we had done on an 11 last season. We've done a couple 11s this season, but no 12s. So I'm going to see if we can't get that video up at some point. However, with work, my uploads have been a little bit sparse, and I do apologize for that, guys. I always want to make sure and get as much stuff out to you as possible, and feel free to add me on BNet. It's just Greeley, the number sign
drop my stacks to this fucker.
1373. It should be in the
Yeah, gives you,
or
like,
maybe in the comments. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah,
in the
but still, it's irritating.
description of the video. Word escaped me once again. That you guys can always message me and see what I'm up to, see when I'm on.
Is that to
I
spell
do have
single
my
target?
streams on Tuesday with Raid. I did not stream this last
would be
week
way too
because it was my first week of work and
Okay, we're good.
there was just some issues, but we did manage to get all the way up to Jaina the first night. I really wish I did stream it, unfortunately, but we
Really
did
well
get
here,
up
we
to Jaina, and
could,
then
in theory,
on Wednesday, the Wednesday here, which to you guys would be the 20th of March, they actually got her down. So, like I said earlier, grats to the guild.
We
A
don't
lot
have
of
a loss
hard
for
work
this, too.
finally paying off, and hopefully I can get my ahead of the curve next week. Alright, so we get work on Trothak, the shock puncher here. So another super easy fight. I just kept my pet out because why not? The pet can constantly stay on the boss. I mean, I can too, so maybe I shouldn't have had him on there, but I don't know. It doesn't really matter. So JB is really kind to me here, to where it's just gonna basically be JB and I getting the sharks thrown at us. So I'm sitting there and I do the most damage. So he was doing a good job of making sure
Another shark.
they weren't on me, so I could sit there and cast my long casts, because there's
That's fine.
not going to be
I'm
any
moving-
issues with
moving up to
Durs
the next
dying,
pool. I'm just gonna
just
keep on moving.
because
Pools?
he
Just
can
makes it
pretty
easier
much
for me,
roll
right?
all his cooldowns and just heal himself up. So JB will run around and get aggro on the shark, because of course the shark does aggro to the closest player. We did have some issues when people would run out to avoid the Sharknado there,
Bones, when I
that
go
they
back in,
would
just for the
accidentally
peeps.
pull the shark off of JB or myself. But it's really easy since we are the range, so I just, as soon as it gets thrown out, it's going to throw it
Let me
on
know
me.
I
There's
can
like
pull
a
if,
half second or a
required.
second delay before he starts doing damage to you, and I just strafe away. Like that, it's super easy to just strafe away and then just basically dodge the entire thing. Since of course they have nerfed this fight extremely hard,
can't
actually.
pull
Like
those
this
guys.
fight used to be a lot
No, you
harder,
shouldn't do
and I
that.
wanted to make sure and not get hit by Trothak there when he rushes to pick up his prize sharks. And of course you just got to see my ginormous heal, as I wanted to make sure and use my disengage to get out of that bad situation that I was in.
That was really weird.
And we're moving quite a bit in this fight, and we're still keeping some good damage. Like we're doing over 19k right now. That's without lust and without pre-pods, etc. like that. Like our damage is significantly going up, and it's staying up, which I enjoy. Makes my life a lot easier because things die faster. That's for sure. So taking down Trothak here, only about 100k more to go, and he's dead. Ring of Booty complete. So here I want to get rid of my pet, because pets, I think we were going to go invis, at least I thought we were, and pets will not go invis with you, and so they can pull stuff because they don't just follow you. Hey Bonsomdi, don't need your buff this runner. So we're going to go up here, we're going to pull the first pack, the second pack of the Pats. We will pull Harlan, and then spoiler alert, we accidentally pull the trash near the end of the Harlan fight, which is perfectly fine because we had to pull 2 of them anyway, because I believe we got up to like 97 or 98% after these pulls, because you want to make sure and be below 84%, because if you're above 84% going through here on a regular week, you will get your reaping, where you, with a lot of the plus 10s and better, you want to make sure and get the reaping after that last boss is dead, so you don't have to do it, and it does save you a lot of time.
We can just leave that.
So I make sure and I cleave off the oarsman, that way he doesn't get his sea swell, or sea spout I think it's called, his cast off there. So we've got the officer coming here, so I make sure and throw the misdirect his way, and then just cleave off the highest health of the pack, which is of course the officer. And it's kind of fun going back and watching these as I throw down the trap, because I know that he will start kiting eventually, because kiting is key on necrotic, especially if you are a DK.
I feel
Squish. And he used it for all of 2 seconds.
we're gonna boss now.
New boss. Just do boss.
Yep, so we're gonna go. Oh yeah, so we did go ahead and Shroud. It was kind of cool that the ghost can see Shroud, that it actually showed it on there.
Okay, anyone want a timer?
Yeah, so when he asked, hey, do you want a timer, that's why I'm like, hey, can I get a 3, 2, 1? Because we were very close to getting this. So I go ahead and lust on pull and position myself because I pulled too much as I didn't use my misdirect, which that's on me. If I died there and I wiped us, or I died and we ruined this time, that would be on me because I did not misdirect there, which is bad, Hunter, bad. But of course, I use my opener there, which obviously I pre-pot. I would have pre-casted my double tap. You pre-pot. I went ahead and lusted. I already had mark on the target, and then you go aim shot. Then you go rapid fire. Then you go back to your arcane shot, and then you go aim shot, arcane shot, aim shot, rapid fire, aim shot, arcane shot, aim shot, arcane shot. I know that was really fast, but then I can almost, with this current haste, I can almost get like the perfect opener, which lust actually kind of makes it a little bit easier because you don't always lust at the very beginning of bosses. At least with our group, we don't. But it's really fluid right now, and I really think that marksman hunters are in a great place right now. So I'm standing way the heck back here, so they don't have to deal with any flame patches that I drop. And then I'm also going to call out there that I will soak all of those. So I will soak them, and as long as I have my pocket heal, I'm fine. So then you saw me there, I ran my fire back away from them. So the stuff that you're seeing in front of us right now, like the stuff right in front of me, will be disappearing soon, to where then we have more room again. So I'll soak this guy. Actually, I thought I was going to soak him, and he was just like, nah, brah, no soaks today. But I just strafed there. I ran into the invisible wall that is the coins. And then you can move just a little bit, and you don't get hit by the flames, and it kind of spreads them out, or it doesn't spread them out as much, which is really nice. So Harlan's almost dead here already. Like, we haven't even been on this guy like 2 minutes. And you can hear the rage in their voice that they did pull the guy, which, hey, no problem, guys. We just want to make sure you kill the boss because he is almost dead. And I think we are going to lose our tank here in just a second, but it's all right because it's going to be right on me. And look how far away I am, because I think somebody may have broke something. So we've got Harlan down there, and we just need to take 2 of these casters out of the storm callers, and then guess what? We are going to finish this key. So I was trying to figure out which one would be the easiest to kill, and that, of course, would be the Stormcaster. The Stormcaller, excuse me, I think I said their name wrong there. Apologies, NPC, enemy. I said your name wrong.
I got a
caster.
But nicely done overall. This was a great run for our group. And you see there, woo, finally timed the 10, got the 2+. And look at our group damage. Like, as a marksman hunter, I really like to see that, where we got above 23k, over 23k for the entire dungeon, even when we're just sitting AFK and doing whatever. So that shows that we pushed through the dungeon really well, and we were putting in some work. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Definitely consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. And if you guys like vintage video games, I do that over on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Mr. Eggplant. And with that being said, thanks for watching, guys. And until my next live stream or video, I'll see you guys later.